Good evening, everybody. More Canadians. We love to see our Canadian friends. We're just going to wait literally just another minute while everybody gets a chance to join. It's just about 7 o'clock here on the East Coast in New York, where I'm zooming in from. Hi, Mary. Yeah. Hi, Delia. Yeah, this is really exciting. I'm so just thrilled to death that we're able to do this, and you know, and Kaye is agreed to do this for us. So to have this special evening edition, Meet the Miniaturists with Kaye, is just going to be awesome. I just want to make a couple of quick announcements before we get on to the presentation. I want to thank Donald for joining on the technology side. Donald Morcone, he's, you know, such a great help. Thank you so much. I'm doing a Facebook Live, folks, tomorrow. It's sort of like bringing my emails to life a little bit. We're going to go through what's happening in the mini world. I'm going to talk about what's happening. So if you haven't signed up for my emails, do so, because I'm going to announce my Facebook Live, which is happening tomorrow, which is on Sunday at 4 o'clock. So look for that email so that you'll know exactly what's happening and when. If you have been following the Biggest Little Christmas Showdown, we have just done our episode 3. So we're moving on to the finals. So next week on HGTV, look for us. And also, we're going to have a very special Meet the Miniaturists next weekend, next Sunday, after the Biggest Little Christmas Showdown ends. We're going to have all of the winners from the HGTV series on a Meet the Miniaturists. So look for that. So without further ado, so happy to welcome Kaye. I know they're having some technology difficulties, maybe with some light issues.
Yep.
But I just want to introduce Kim. Kim McKisson is behind the scenes, and she's behind the camera helping us out to photograph while Kaye is giving us the tour. So Kaye has one of the most extraordinary miniatures collections on the planet. And every year she decorates the miniatures and the room boxes and dollhouses for Christmas. And she's going to walk us through her incredible gallery. It's the KSB Collection. It's in Maysville, Kentucky. Look for it. If you ever get a chance, put it on your calendar to go visit once all this COVID is done. But in the meantime, we have this awesome walkthrough that Kaye is going to take us through now. So introducing Miss Kaye Browning. Thank you for joining us, Kaye. Yay!
Thank you so much for having me. This is just an awesome way to show the miniatures and the Christmas decorations that we put up. And what better way for you to help promote this than to do this, allow me to do this walkthrough. It's really, I think, going to be a lot of fun. I've never done anything like this before, so it's going to be very new to me, but it's also an exciting way to do it. So we never can count on anything, and our lights just went out. So I would like for Kim to focus on our wording up here. It's an introduction to my huge world of miniatures. It's all about the artisans who make it, and it's all about why they make them. And I think that everyone is enamored, as I am, and very passionate about the quality and detail that we have in the miniatures here in the Miniatures Gallery. Several years ago, we decided to do a formal introduction to the Miniatures Gallery. And so we created this educational wall, so to speak, because so many people were coming into the museum and saying, well, I'm not sure I really want to spend time to go look at dollhouses. And so we had to educate them. We had to put something out there so that they would know exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about very highly detailed pieces of furniture, objet d'art, animals. We have the only thing that's not organic are the people, the animals, and the plants. So everything else is made out of the real material. We have also the original techniques where these miniatures were made. And what we like to do is put a little touch of Christmas in each one of these boxes. So you'll see that just that little touch of red and green. I'm a big red and green person at Christmas time. So We have some very special items. The one that Kim is focusing on now is a Kentucky chest that is the original actually sold at auction for $496,000. So Mark Murphy was able to create this one for me, and it's just a really special piece.
It really is.
So then we have animals, and Carrie Pajudi's dogs. That's my Gentry, and our little puppy Pumpkin. And as you see, we have an outdoor basket with pine cones. It's just a little touch to make everything seem bright and cheery. One of my favorite exhibits for Christmas is this bling. I think no Christmas is complete without some bling. So that is one of my favorite exhibits. The original candelabrum here were supposed to go into Spencer House, but they were actually modeled after a pair in London in the Mayfair area. And so we got photographs of it, and Jens Torp was able to make them, but actually when they arrived, they overwhelmed the dining table. So we scratched it. We made a special exhibit out of it. We have Althea Chrome's sweater. This is her Earth, Sea, and Sky. And we have a little Christmas cake with a gingerbread house on it. And then down below, we have Bill Robertson's 1/8 scale toolbox. For the men out there, all of these tools are working. Everything works. And so we've added a little wooden Christmas tree, since Bill tends to deal in wooden objects. So, and his medals are also outstanding. So we're gonna walk over to an exhibit that sort of, for me, it explains exactly why I collect what I do. And it's all about the stories. It's all about the stories they tell. We have a vignette here that is of my great grandmother, Carrie. And it just sort of tells what her interests are. And I think she's just like me. We really tend to love jewelry. So Lorianne Potts has done a marvelous job of making the bust with the pearls and opals on it. And we finish it out with a beautiful petty point piece and a Christmas tree. And we also have a mug, 2 mugs, and some Christmas puddings. Then we come to one of my absolute favorites. This is, I think everybody looking at that can sort of tell what the story is. You have a brother and a sister who have gathered around the Christmas tree, and they're looking at their gifts, and Dad is standing in the background admiring, but he's looking over at his younger daughter, who is looking at the Nativity Scene with great admiration. And to me, it tells the story of Christmas. We love the commercial side of it, but we also love the religious side of it. And so that's Christmas to me in a nutshell. Over here, we have my actual first piece that I ever had. It was made for me, and it was taken actually from the Tasha Tudor book. A is for Annabelle, and the Q page, this is the quilt on grandmother's bed. And that was the exact bed that I slept in as a child, and the 9 square patchwork quilt, pink and white, that my grandmother had made for the bed. And so you can imagine when I saw that on the page, that was where it really sparked my interest and my passion in these tiny, highly detailed things that also really created memories for me. There was a lot of nostalgia involved. Also, we have the 2 chairs. I saved all my money and I purchased the 2 chairs, the Victorian side chair and the rocker. And so those were purchased at the Allenwood General Store, which is the barrel you see there. That when Jean Johnson closed her shop, I was able to get that sign. And then we have the setting with Tasha Tudor. So I feel like this is sort of the story of how it all began. And it's all right here in one little exhibit so everybody can put the pieces together. So we're going to walk around over here. We have also in the foyer, we have an exhibit called Study the Details. And these are some of the very finest, wonderful, tiny pieces that we have in the collection. Very, very intricate. We have a Swiss Army knife. We have a beautifully pointed sewing set. The back of it is petty pointed. And we have Peter Gable's plants here with the shell box. Those are very, very intricate. And then down on the end, we have Ursula Derby Skofsted's inlaid desk set and her picture frames and her stamp box. So as you can see, these pieces are very tiny, and we've added very tiny Christmas decorations to the boxes. One of our other favorite things is to feature different items. We use these for seasonal displays. We change them about 4 times a year. And Christmas is always fun to put together. It's a very special time, and we have 2 lit trees with all of the toys. I like to do whimsical things as well as the more formal settings. So it's just, there again, they tell a story. The middle tree is sort of reminds me of what our trees looked like when I was growing up, except they had tons of red and green and blue and yellow lights on them, and it was just very, very festive. And then we go to the nautical scene, which is one of my favorites. It has a lot of scrimshaw and vessels done by Paul Briggs and Ron Steckowitz. And then we go down to a very serious scene. Those are some special items. The pitcher and the 2 goblets on Don Buttfield's sideboard were given to me by my husband for my 75th birthday. And those were done by Jens Torp. And the meaning behind the pitcher and the goblets are that they're replicas of Lou's family silver. And so they're just very special to me. We have Frank Crescente's beautiful chandelier with a little Christmas decoration on the bottom. And then one of my absolute favorites is the Pinocchio done by Gene Rooley. Pinocchio is sitting in his workshop, and the little kitty cat is looking at the bird cage, wishing he could get to what's inside. But it's a lot of fun. So I like to do the serious along with the whimsical pieces. And that's what Christmas is all about for me. We're going to go over to another special exhibit. This is the Gingerbread House by Theresa Layman, one of 3 structures that I have by her. And it's one of my favorites because it really, it expresses a childhood Christmas where the elves are all baking gingerbread houses. And 3 of my favorite parts of it are the kittens, the little kitty cats. We have Ginger, Nutmeg, and Cinnamon are their names. We also in here are featured Theresa's, her French knotted rugs, which are very, very special. So this gingerbread house is one of my favorite Christmas exhibits to come out every year. And it's just really a fun piece. So then we're going to go to the Christmas sweater, which was done by Althea Crome. And it was based on a triptych, which was a 2 folding panels. And when you open the panels up, you have the shepherds on one side, the wise men on the other side, And on the back of the sweater is the creche scene with baby Jesus and Mary and Joseph. I apologize. I don't know what happened to the light. It's very difficult. Can you see it okay?
Yep, we can see fine.
Okay, good. Okay, so now we are going to go, and I welcome you all into the main gallery.
Yay.
Here we have Spencer House. Spencer House is Diana's ancestral home in London. And though they did not celebrate Christmas back in the mid 1700s, we have brought it up to more contemporary times. And when we go to the real Spencer House now, their Christmas decorations are highly intricate and just absolutely beautiful. So we've tried to recreate those in this setting, and it sort of sets the stage for Christmas when one looks through the double doors, through the glass doors, and you look in here and see these Christmas trees. I think that everybody knows what kind of a treat they're in for. So I'm going to take you around to the back and show you.
God, that is just stunning.
I'm going to show you the main rooms that are actually shown to the public. They're all the staterooms, except for Lady Spencer's bedroom. We did not do that because it was not quite as intricate. We have the painted room. All of the hand-painted walls are allegorical scenes of cherubs, and they stand for the love and just admiration that the first Earl Spencer and his wife had for each other. They were incredibly in love, and it's all about fidelity and marriage and love and music and art. Everything is brought out in the wallpaper. We have a beautiful Christmas tree also by Joe Bevilacqua, and that's what makes that room special at Christmas time. I always say that Spencer House is very special by itself, but when we decorate it for Christmas, it's just amazing how it comes to life. And I'm always very sad at the end of Christmas to take all the decorations out. But I want you to notice the paintings on the wall, those in the great room, which is set up for a concert. Those paintings are all of the ancestors of Princess Diana, starting with the first Earl Spencer and going all the way up to the 9th Earl. We have Foster Tracy's instruments. Those are all functional instruments. They're all tunable and playable. He even gave me a little bottle of rosin with it, and I said, you have real hopeful thinking that I could ever do that, but it's a lot of fun. All of these paintings are oil paintings. They are real oils painted on ivorine. The wallpaper and chairs are made, well, actually, the chairs were done by John Hodgson, and he had dyed a damask wedding dress with a very small pattern in red. And when Mulvaney and Rogers were putting the house together, they asked if they could have the remaining fabric for the walls. So I think that's quite a special touch. Wow. We come down to the dining room, and the dining room is set for Christmas dinner. That's their luncheon. And it's highly decorated with Christmas decorations, and we have the table that's all set with the first course of soup, and it's all porcelain china. It's sterling silver and 18 karat gold centerpiece. We have the sterling silver and also sterling silver and bone flatware. And crystal, we have silver mustard pots and sugar casters and everything that would complete a meal. So next we have the palm room. That is a very special, it's a very special room, very intricately carved. The whole of Spencer House, they used 180 sheets of gold gilt. So you can see on the walls, especially there in the palm room, where the columns are all hand carved, and they have been gold leafed as well. On the bottom floor, we have the rooms that I call the more informal rooms. They're very warm and welcoming. I had always said that I didn't really want to collect gold gilt furniture, but when Dan McNeil sent me the pictures of Spencer House, I said that's a house that I could feel very comfortable in. I probably wouldn't spend a whole lot of time in the staterooms, but I find these other informal rooms extremely inviting. This one, the library that Kim is focusing on now, is a room that has Christian lithographs on the wall, and it has Natasha's painting of Madonna and Child. We have Pierre Moret's globe, where the globe is sitting on his shoulders. That reminds us of the weight of the world being on one's shoulders. But all in all, it's just a really fabulous mansion, and we are trying to upgrade all of the Christmas decorations. So we have added some new ones this year in the great room by Hope Elliott. The other trees are by Lois Bigley and Joe Bevilacqua. So now we're going to go to my next favorite, which is the jewelry shop. And I talked about bling at Christmas time. Everybody loves bling, and all these ladies and even men like to get bling for Christmas. So this was based on a shop that I saw in Mayfair, and walking past the windows and drooling because the jewelry was absolutely so gorgeous, but price-wise it was untouchable. So I contacted Lorianne Potts and Kevin and Susan about doing the Georgian jewelry shop. And so Lorianne and Lynn O'Shaughnessy and I'm trying to think of the Andrews fellow that made some of the jewelry. It's mostly all made by Lorianne Potts. We have a diamond ring down on the bottom shelf in the window for anybody window shopping. And that is a diamond that has 56 facets cut into it. One of the other features of this room box at Christmas time, besides all of the Christmas packages and the bags on the floor going out for different people to pick up to take home for their wives, is the table that has eggnog on it. And when my husband and I had a woman's clothing store when we were first married, that's one of the things that we did at Christmas time was serve fresh eggnog. So that's one of the little touches in this jewelry shop that sort of bring back those memories, great Christmas memories. So we're going to go into the main part of the gallery.
That is just crazy. While we're walking through, if anybody has any questions, why don't you pop them into the chat box and we'll try to get to them.
I like to call this Main Street Maysville. This is Main Street Maysville, Kentucky. It's actually 3rd Street, but all of the favorite buildings that I have recreated because they were in such bad shape, and they were memories that I wanted to have from childhood. All of these buildings are made with real brick. They were done by Ashby and Jed, and they were real bricks cut down to 1/12 scale, and each brick has been hand laid. It's been glued on separately, and then the whole building has been mortared and then aged. So what you see there are the real bricks. The Russell Theater was my babysitter. So I spent a good deal of time in the Russell Theater. And Kim can show you the inside of the Russell Theater. That is a very special atmospheric theater. Just really incredible. It's done in Rococo, Spanish style. So that's where we spent a good many of our days. So now we're going to come over to the Cox building. The Cox building is sort of the cornerstone of the town of Maysville. It's a beautiful building that was actually built to house the Masons in the early days, but the special part of it for me is the drugstore. This is recreated exactly the way it was in the 1950s when I was growing up. So we have the soda fountain with the booths and the telephone booth, the famous telephone booth where all the girls gather in there to talk to their boyfriends. So we have the countertops that have Christmas gifts on them. They have Christmas cards, they have toys, Christmas decorations, and all the medicinal things that you would need for your medicine cabinet in your home. My dad was a doctor, and we lived 4 doors up from here. So as far back as I can remember, I spent a lot of hours in this store every day. Dad would send his patients down to the pharmacy to get their prescriptions, and Dr. Kilgus and his wife were very generous with me. I think I was one of the few people who actually could sit on the floor and read comic books and not have to buy them. But that was a fun thing. The soda fountain, the tiles that you see there were fashioned after the Rookwood pottery in Cincinnati, Ohio. They did the tiles for the original soda fountain. The top of it is black glass. And as you look at the soda fountain, you can see this little red paper cup with Coca-Cola in it. And I used to get Dad's hangers from his white coats and take them down here next door to the pharmacy was a dry cleaners, and I would sell Dad's hangers back to the dry cleaners. And then I would go into the drugstore, into the soda fountain, and buy a 6-cent Coke. So it was just lots of memories from this drugstore and from all of our Christmas memories. The roller skates that you see on the porch, my girlfriend lived across the street from the pharmacy, so we were always roller skating. Those are Bill Robertson skates that lengthen and widen with a skate key. And we tore up the sidewalks with our roller skates. But when it came to going inside the drugstore, Dr. Kilgus said, you can't come in here with your roller skates. So we left them on the porch. This building now houses the area where the pharmacy was, now houses the Culinary Art Institute, which during the semesters they make delicious meals and wonderful dishes, and we go there for lunches on Fridays. And then upstairs on the second floor was where I had piano lessons from the time I was 6 years old until I was 18. The Downing Performing Arts Academy is now housed there. So Maysville is quite a cultural city.
That's just beautiful.
Now we're coming over to one of my most favorite exhibits. It's a house that's called South Bend. It was made by Noel and Pat Thomas. They are known for their aging, and they have done quite a wonderful job. When we first got this and we were putting it into the gallery, of course, there were many people that helped pull all this together. And as one of the people was brushing the dust out of the gutter, Bill Robertson came running over and he said, no, don't take the dust out of the gutter. It's meant to be there. So, I mean, we're talking all the way down to the things that just make it look old. On the back porch, some of my, I was amazed that I've found clothespins that tiny to put on the clothesline. But you can also see by the door, there is a dollhouse kit, and some special little girl or boy is going to get that for Christmas. And I can see the parents either putting it up the night before, building it, and or building it ahead of time and putting it in the basement to hide until Christmas morning rolls around. This house is really special because the woman who was my seamstress and made all of our cheerleading and dance costumes lived here. So I can still remember coming up on the porch and going into the front door, in through the front door into the foyer, and then into the parlor to be fitted. And one of the things that I noticed about Miss Fisk's house, and I didn't really think about it too much until I got older, was that when I went in there, there was no light. Any light that came into the room came indirectly from the window. So I put lots of lamps in there when I decorated this. And one of my favorites is the red and green lamp by Diane Almeida that it looks good all year round, but it especially looks good at Christmas time. Oh, yeah. So we come into the back of it, and up on the top floor, you can see carvings of Noel and Pat. Those were purchased at the auction at the end of Guild School when they were auctioning them off. And I felt that it would be very appropriate to put them in one of their houses. They're actually sitting up on a 2-inch block, but the story behind it is that Noel and Pat carved their figures and they used them to gauge ceiling height. So I wanted they are on that wooden pedestal, which makes them a little taller, but I wanted you to be able to see them. And then we have the kitchen, which is the main focus of the Christmas baking. The lady of the house is baking bread to give for gifts. And then we have my favorite cherry pie over on the stove. Also, the little puppy that you see down there, that is my Springer Spaniel, Pam. Mm-hmm. She actually, I guess at that point we were trying to housebreak her, but even at age 8, it never happened. So it's really special to have Pam in there. Another one of my favorite Christmas exhibits is the Hobbit house. This was the second, or actually it was the first structure that I ever purchased from Theresa Layman. It was a class that she took from Rick Pierce, but then she embellished it incredibly well. She added a lot of things to it to give it more character. And so we like to decorate that for Christmas. Just every Hobbit needs his own Christmas decorations. Sure. So as you can see, Hobbit has been doing his Christmas baking, and he's got his little Christmas tree all lit up. Well, it's not lit up, but the lights are on in there, and it's just fun to be able to see it all. There again, we've got Theresa's French knotted rugs, but that's a really fun piece. I especially like the curved brick, and I love round spaces, as you could see from the Spencer House Rotunda. When Bill Robertson designed the gallery, he said, "What do you want?" And I said, I don't want mazes. I don't want dark. I want lots of curves and surprises around every corner. And that's exactly what he created. Yeah. So I'm very indebted to him. So now we're going to come through what we call the German, it's the German fairy tales. And we've sort of decorated it like it's pine from the Black Forest. So these are Hannah Hyland's fairy tales. And then we come over here to the Christmas one, which is a rather sad one, but it's the little match girl, and she's outside and she's very cold, but inside the family is enjoying their Christmas dinner. And it's Christmas, but it's in some ways it's a very sad Christmas. So we don't like to dwell on that too much, but it's a beautifully, beautifully made piece by Hannah.
Oh, I love that piece.
Next we have Linda Young, who's better known as Lady Jane. We have her beautiful glass conservatory with many of the plants that are made by her. And we have one of Joe Bevilacqua's beautiful poinsettia Christmas trees in the back of it. This is another one of my very special favorite pieces. Next, we come to the Nativity. We're doing the Nativity set, which I think this is one of the highlights of Christmas for me. When I saw Theresa at the Chicago show, she had a barn and a bakery that was very, very similar to this structure. So what I asked her to do was to create a nativity scene setup. And it was supposed to be similar to the Neapolitan tune. And he said, I know exactly what I want to do. He said, I want to create Caravaggio's painting, The Adoration of the Shepherds. And I have to admit that when I received the figures, I've never seen a more tender scene of Mary cuddling baby Jesus and Joseph showing such love and tenderness toward them. It really almost brings me to tears every time I look at it. But Carrie Pajuti made all of the animals, and of course everybody is in adoration. We have beautifully made camels, and then we come around to the side and we have a braying donkey. He seems to be shouting. We have a female goose, and she's doing the same thing, but it's a very meaningful scene. So we're just really excited to be able to share.
Kim, we're breaking up a little bit.
Okay. How about now?
Better.
Okay.
Okay. So then we come to the Massachusetts dining room. The Massachusetts dining room is, I love New England. My husband went to school in New England, so he first introduced me to it. And I really, this room box by William C. Bowen is a very, very special one. We're going to take the top off of it so you can get a better close up. But we've put some Christmas touches in here. We put in the wreath and the gingerbread house, and then a little Santa Claus over on the table with the tree, and the sled that would have been in every New Englander's home. But this is one of my favorites. Another story, the desk that's in the back that has the Christmas package on it. When I bought a few things at auction, actually, I guess it was this room box that I bought at auction because all of the furniture came with it. And I called Bill Robertson and I said, Bill, I said, there's a desk in here. I understand who made all the other pieces, but there's a desk that has WRR on it. And I said, I don't know who made that. And he said, oh my gosh, Kaye, that was me. He said, I made that. And he said, I can tell you exactly, that was the third desk out of a series of 6. So, you know, all these things happen for a reason. And it was really fun. Really fun to get that little piece of knowledge. So the next thing we're going to come to we have 2 room boxes by Bob Off, And I think these are probably a little hard to see because of the glare. But we have a museum setting. It's a whaling museum. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with John Stobart, but he was a marine artist in full scale. And he collaborated with Bob Off to do these 4 marine paintings in miniature. And he said that they're all one of a kind and there'll never be any more, because he had a very difficult time painting in miniature. But his trademark was to put a whiskey bottle in the waves of all of the water, the marine scenes. So there's even a little whiskey bottle floating in the front. It's way up toward the very bottom of the picture, about an inch in from the left. So that's really fun. Now we come to my favorite settings. And one of the things that I love to do at Christmas time is set up little vignettes that tell stories. And on the top shelf, we have a beautiful outdoor scene by Sylvia Mobley. It's Santa with the reindeer, and the bag of goodies are on the sled. And then we have 3 elves by Helen Hartzell, and they're all peeping around trying to see what's going on. One of her elves has hopped a ride on one of the reindeer. And we've got her wolves and her rabbits. And then we have Frank Bellistreri's turkeys also in there. But it's just a really beautiful scene, and one of my favorite ones to put out every year. Then we go down on the next shelf, we have a fireplace, and we have all of the different Christmas stockings from our melded family, our grandchildren. So that's a lot of fun. And then we have Kay Ship's rendition of Santa and the elf trying to get the reindeer to move. He's going, "We've got a job to do tonight, and you're not helping." Actually, I think that may be a moose. The next one that we have is the colonial. It's a colonial setting. And then I just sort of fill in with fun Christmas things, Christmas trees that light. We have a Paul Briggs ship in the back that actually has a battery in it, and the ship is riding the waves when you turn it on. The other setting that we have here is the little girl and boy waiting for Santa to come, and she's watching the clock and he's falling asleep, and the elves are there decorating the tree for Christmas. And then down below, we have Christina Noriega's X-ray machine, and Santa's at the controls, and the elf is getting ready to X-ray the doll. So just a lot of fun stuff. We like the whimsical things for the kids. Next to that, we have a Charles Dickens scene from A Christmas Carol. And I'm looking for information on this because it was donated to me by Carol Kaye before she passed away, which she also gave us the Catherine Palace, which will be decorated next Christmas and will be here in the museum. But I'm looking for the artist of this piece. Oh. So we have added a few little touches to it. We've added the roosters in the cages. That's a Marcia Backstrom figure. And then Jean Rooley made Scrooge for me. So it's really a lot of fun.
Beautiful.
Next, we're coming to the room box that was built totally by Harry Smith. This is one of the few room boxes that incorporates all of his talents. He made most of the furniture in here, but the one thing about it is he's an artist in full-size paintings, and he created the 1/12 scale scene that you see outside the door. Now, this Spite House was actually a house that was in Philadelphia, and they put it on a ship and brought it to Rockport, Maine. So if you go out on the point, on it's known as Beecham Point, you can see this actual house, and this is just one of the rooms in it. But it's got a lot of special things in it. I added Jeff Wanicott's chess table and set, and Ernie Levy's floor grandmother clock.
Oh.
And I don't think any New England scene would be complete without a telescope. So we've got a lot of things in here, a lot of things going on, but it's really fun. Another one of my favorite pieces is the persimmon bush that is by Hiroyuki. And it's sitting on Yulia Chin Lee's pedestal. So then we're going to move from Spite House. We're going to go over to my favorite because it brings so many memories to me. This is a rendition of Swan Lake. All of the dolls are done by Maria Santos, and they are so delicate and they're so graceful. So this is one of the memories that I have of when I was 6 years old. I had been dancing for 3 years, but Mother took me to see Swan Lake. And so this was one of the scenes. I wanted dancers, and I wanted to recreate this one that meant so much to me. I think, did we go back to the next one we're going to go to is Chessington Plaza. This was the second house that Dan McNeil from the Lawbridge Company built for me. It was a limited edition of 25. And when I spoke to him about it, I said, I've been collecting American furniture and I've been collecting European furniture, but I do not want two structures. And he said, well, I have the answer for you. He said, we'll do an apartment house. And so that's exactly what we do. European on one side, and we have American on the other. So on the top, we have the billiard room. And then we come down to the bedrooms and the little sitting parlor. And my favorite Christmas decorations are, well, some of them are in this house because the tree is made from porcelain dolls. There are 50 porcelain dolls on that tree. And so it's extremely special. I played with dolls until I was 12 years old. So that all has a great deal of meaning for me. And then we also have the dining room set up for a Christmas party. We have our wine and Christmas cookies. And I think no European house would be complete without a great kitchen. If it's one of those kitchens that one yearns for. So that's the beauty of miniatures. If you can always create something that you can live in without having to purchase the real thing. So it's the make-believe world is just a lot of fun. And now we have the American side. The top floor is my daughter Carrie's artist studio. And then we come down to the living room and the dining room. And that combination, the living room, dining room, are very special to me because my mother, her color scheme in our home was blues and greens together. And when I first started collecting back in the early 90s, up in Maine, there was an artist by the name of Anne Brownbridge, and she painted those murals. And it helped me coalesce my ideas about what I wanted this living room and dining room to look like. And so that sort of helped pull it all together. And then we go down to the kitchen, and this is pretty much an exact replica of what our kitchen was like when I was growing up. We had the K&L chrome table with the naugahyde seats. and it's all decked out for preparation for the Christmas dinner and all the trimmings. And I even have an electric knife over on the sideboard there. My dad was a great one for gadgets, and I think we probably had one of the first electric knives that was ever put on the market.
How's our reception, Darren?
Good.
Oh, good.
Okay, we're coming into the part where you're going to have to let us know about this, because one of my favorite scenes is in here. This is Mulvaney and Rogers' Colonial Williamsburg room box. And I dedicate this to a dear friend of mine in California who helped me find the rug that went in here. I had been putting one rug after another, and nothing seemed to work. And she showed me this, and I said, that's it. That's the one that's going to go in there. So thank you, Melanie. Just one of my absolute favorites. So let's try the sterling silver dining room. All of the silver in here is by Peter Quisto and Harry Smith and Don Henry and Obadiah Fisher, all of the great names. And then we even have some 17th century Dutch silver in there as well. So now we're going to go over to one of my two favorite room boxes. This is Claremont Manor, and it actually, I call it Nellie's room box because my distant cousin is Nellie Melba, who's the opera singer. And so she's stepping into her music room. One of the fascinating things about this room box, I bought it because I love the coloring. I love the peach wallpaper, the peach walls. But one of the fascinating things about it is the coat of arms over the mantelpiece. When I was growing up, my best friend, and we are still best friends to this day, her name was Kaye. She's Kaye Hargett Abney. And when I unpacked the pieces that came with the room box, I was absolutely shocked to see that coat of arms said Abney. And I thought, this was just absolutely meant to be. So I'm glad that I have her little touch in here. The next room box that we're going to go to, because these are my two favorite Christmas decorations. The room box is a double room box by William C. Bowen. And we have Sylvia Mobley's Christmas villages on both of the mantles. And it's actually set up for a Christmas tea. There's going to be a harpist there pretty soon. And I love the lighting effects in this one because on the west end, it looks like the sun is going down. And so the lighting is different there than it is when you come to the east side of the house. It's just a very special
Yeah, so Kim
setting, very warm and welcoming. We have the Christmas tree.
I'm sorry, what?
It is a little choppy.
Let's go into the. Okay, we're going to go on.
You gonna do those first?
How about now?
Still a little choppy.
Really?
Is it better?
I can hear you. It's the video is still a little choppy.
Okay, well, what I can do, I think if Kim can just do close-ups of each one of these little cases, you let us know if you can see that.
That's good. That's perfect. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We have in this room, actually it's a little vignette or a case of special items. Carrie Pajudi's cat. What am I saying? Dog. Carrie Pajudi's Tasha dog cat.
That's okay.
And it's looking at the birds. It's looking at the bird nest on the branch. That's a Mark Murphy and Mary Grady O'Brien creation. And then we have Mary McGrath's poinsettias and peace doves, which I think are just really beautiful. Then next we have a room box that has a Christmas basket in it from Francine Coyan and a book. This is where we even though we've got these small cases in the Fine Arts Rotunda, we like to add just a little Christmas touch to each one. And so that's what we've done with each one of the cases. Is the reception okay?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Okay. And we have a Karen Markland piece. Little German. And then over here we have a beautiful, with Althea Chrome sweaters, we have a very small petty point scene of Santa Claus and the reindeer flying over the houses. And in our case of porcelain and pottery and Delftware, we have a Santa Claus. He actually moves. He rotates on the chimney on the reindeer. And then we have Linda Steyer, who did the Christmas bear. One of my favorite pieces, and this was given to me by Eve Troop when she came to see me. It was one that her mother had painted. Actually, Mary Grady O'Brien painted it for her. And I felt that they needed to go together with this japanned chest, because Pam had ordered that from Mary and Mark before she passed away. And so they contacted me knowing that she would have wanted it in the museum. So I felt that it was very appropriate to have Mary Grady O'Brien's Christmas scene with the japanned chest.
For sure.
So over here in this case, we have some beautiful china. It's a Christmas set by Jan Yingling. Jean. And then we come over to a case that houses all of Bill Robertson's piece. Well, not all that we have in the museum, but this is a number of his really special pieces. We've got his 18th century drafting table, a Philadelphia dining room table. It's a Queen Anne. And then we have his metamorphic bed down here on the bottom shelf. It was a campaign bed that folded up and you could carry it from place to place. It actually makes into a bench. It has a navy blue leather seat on it. And then one of his tables here, there's a pair of them, which he says is very rare. The other piece that I want to point out is very special. This is the urn. It's by Anstorp. It's 18-karat gold with blue enamel. The story behind it was that when I give presentations, I always tell everybody it's in the Royal Collection, but I was sort of just saying words. And it really came home to me when I went over to England and was going through the Queen's Gallery. There was a watercolor in there. It was an 1818 watercolor. And lo and behold, there was the urn sitting on a pedestal. And it was actually from George IV's Carlton House. And I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. That would be the Royal Collection of Queen Elizabeth. That was her ancestor. And so we went to Windsor Castle the next day, And in walking through the pink room, I saw the original urn on the pedestal overlooking Windsor Park. And so it just came 360 degrees all the way around. And I was so excited to be able to put that little provenance with my miniature piece. The original is in Versailles. I want to point out the rotunda. This is one of our most special places. It houses wonderful pieces, but it's also in tribute to Bill Robertson, who designed all the gallery. And we really thank him so much for what he's been able to do for the miniatures world. So as you can see, that's in honor of him. And I think that at this point, I will just ask for questions.
Well, I would like to say that, you know, I would like to say that your contribution to the miniatures world is pretty incredible. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Darren. Thank you. It's you know, it's such a pleasure and joy to share with everyone. And I think in these times when people can't really travel that much, this has been an awesome way to show, you know, what the gallery is like and to show the Christmas decorations and also what we have to offer, you know, in the gallery. And I can't wait until next April. We are going to be putting in the Scale to Perfection Encore. It will be another 2,000 square feet of miniatures over in the gallery next door to this gallery. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be opens April 6th and closes on December 31st. So we have a good full 9 months for people to be able to get here to see it. So we're really excited.
Yeah,
really excited
that we can have you back to share that on a Zoom if we can. That would be pretty awesome.
Okay, I would love to do that.
Yeah. Are you open to taking a few questions before we wrap up?
I am. I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Before our lights went out, I was going to show a Hanukkah exhibit. And when the lights went out, everything just went dead. So I could not show that, but we like to have something for everyone. And so I wish everybody happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. And so I'll take questions.
Yeah, so actually it was a question that I had for you earlier, which is, you know, how long does it take you to set up? When do you start? And how many people does it take to do this?
Well, we actually have 3 people who do it. We have Theresa Layman, who's my assistant curator. We have Carrie Seven, who's my daughter and also an assistant curator, and myself. And then we have Kim here, who is always taking photographs of what we're putting in and what we're taking out so that we know pretty much how to set it up the next time. Though I would say that I like to do things differently. Things never really go back exactly the way they were.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I mean, aside from all the wonderful accolades that we're getting, we do have a couple of other questions that we want to get to before we wrap up. Just
okay.
Great feedback. And I mean, I want to read all of these to you, but I'm going to send these to you, Kaye, so you can see just the wonderful reaction from everybody who's on and watching. And lots of folks are saying they now need to come and see the museum, which is absolutely true. That is, you know, this is just a taste. I mean, this has been riveting. I have to tell you, for myself personally, I just was watching. I couldn't get close enough to the screen to watch and see. So yeah, I do want to wrap this up and let everybody go home. But thank you, Kaye, so much for this. This has been incredible. And thank you and Merry Christmas. And just thank you for sharing the museum with us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody, have a great night. And thank you for joining this Zoom. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Darren.
Bye.
All right,
Thank you.
good night.